entire upper body is sore trying to live a dream over the weekend. Like, progressively has gotten worse and worse as the hours have gone by. And I don't regret it one bit because I'm happy because it ended up being beneficial to me. So, despite the fact my wife was like, if you got to take ibuprofen and icy hot before the game starts, what's it worth to you to go out here and do this? I'm like, because I want to have fun. It's my last time as an adult to have fun. I got a kid. I got possibly another kid on the way down the road.
Oh, I was about to
I gotta
say.
get it where I get in. No, not now. No.
I was going to say that's a cold announcement just to do it like that.
Damn, that's a hell. I was gonna say that's a hell of a launch for a Monday afternoon. Sheesh.
No, I'm not making any announcements like that. No. Yeah, so like over the weekend, I decided to try out for an adult baseball league here in Charlotte. I drove to a baseball field about 30 minutes away from where I live. It was a 2-hour tryout. Went through batting practice, went through fielding practice. Did not get hurt, most importantly. And at the end, I got drafted by a team called the Queen City Yankees. So I'm a Yankee. I get to have facial hair.
I was about to say
they ain't about to make you
You get to have facial hair?
Get have and everything, yeah.
This is
fun, though. Like, I realized like I was the most athletic person out there, despite the fact I'm not very athletic. Some of the dudes out there, all of them over 30 years old, they had not seen the inside of a gym in maybe like a couple decades. I could tell.
Kendrick about to be Barry Bonds out there.
What are you
saying? What are you saying? They came out there looking like Babe Ruth?
Yeah, look like Babe Ruth, but like with none of the mystique of Babe Ruth, another ability of Babe Ruth.
Also, before we begin, you know we live in an alternative universe when the Yankees say you could actually have a beard now.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I tried out and I didn't get hurt, and I made one of the teams. So I'll be a podcaster in the media who's actually in sports and not one of these dudes behind the microphone like y'all see.
So Kendrick, you were drafted.
Favorite networks disparaging athletes and don't get on the field. I'm actually a person who gets on the field.
So you were drafted.
Yes.
What round were you drafted?
I don't know. Like at the end of the tryout, one of the organizers of the event said, well, we'll let y'all know probably tonight or sometime this week whether y'all made it or not. They texted me 20 minutes after it was over telling me I had made one of the teams.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, we got to have.
That sounds like you were in the first round.
Yeah.
I know.
Or at least among the first picks.
Yeah.
Bonus picks. It's bonus baby time. You got to be an old school baseball fan to know about the bonus babies. You know?
Don't get paid first. I got to pay.
Are you like? Did you get an agent? Are you in contract negotiations right now?
Oh gosh, no! Not to play with a bunch of 35-plus-year-olds.
Shoot, at least if you would have went undrafted, you could have had a Jordan moment. Like I took that personally. I went out every night in the batting cages and I batted until sun up to sundown.
They should have cut me one of them Jalen Hurts commercials after he won the Super Bowl.
Oh man, that was an awesome commercial. They ran.
Well, congratulations, Kendrick.
Yeah,
I appreciate it, man. Everybody support. My wife took video of it. I might post it on our social media later on, so y'all can see like how I actually looked out there. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun to get it back on the field again.
No, we need to say that for Wednesday.
Ah, yes.
Oh, Wednesday, okay. I will show it Wednesday during our off topic.
Video support for Wednesday.
Yes.
Kendrick is a Yankee.
I'm a Yankee.
Kendrick Marshall's drafted by the Yankees. That's a true headline.
See, we live our raps around here at HBCU Sports. You know, we do the things we say we gonna do.
Anyway,
yeah, enough about me. We're gonna talk black collar sports. It was quite a big interesting weekend. There's a Legacy Bowl we're gonna get into. We're gonna get into the CIAA tournament starting up this week. And we're gonna talk about a school that has released its season ticket prices, and you may be shocked by the number, but on further inspection, you'll find out that the number is not that bad. But first, we're going to get into the Legacy Bowl. Was played on Saturday. Team Robinson played against Team Gaither. Team Robinson came away with the win. The score doesn't matter. It was about the guys on the field and how they performed that kind of mattered. And Jared Hoffman, our intrepid Division II reporter who doesn't know anything about football, he came out with observations about some of the guys we watched during the game, stood out to him. And he mentioned Traquan Thomas, who had 4 sacks in the game. He had 10 sacks all season for Alabama State. He had 4 in the game on Saturday. He won the Defensive Player of the Game award for the Legacy Bowl. Daniel Richardson, another guy Jared mentioned, offensive MVP. He went 9 of 12 for 110 yards and a touchdown in the game. Jada Byers, who was awarded with the Black College Football Player of the Year award for 2024. Only the second player to get that award from the Division II level since Amir Hall did it for Bowie State back in 2018. He really impressed folks out there. He made some guys miss. He broke some ankles out there. He was a pretty good player in his own right on Saturday. And Jay Nellis stood out as well, the quarterback from Tennessee State. He kind of rallied Team Gaither. At the end, they came up short, but like he hit a lot of deep passes, a lot of them to Jaleel Dean, his teammate from Tennessee State. So those were some of the guys who stood out. And I'll leave it up to Jared Hoffman to let y'all know who else kind of like caught his eye on Saturday's game.
First of all, I got to correct Kendrick. He said Jada Byers was the first to win the Deacon Jones Trophy since Amir Hall. That's 2-time winner Amir Hall from Bowie State. Just got to get that straight first and foremost. But as far as guys that stood out, obviously Traquan Thomas was just a beast on that defensive line. There was a lot of guys on the defensive line who had great games. Elijah Williams, who had a great practice throughout the entire week. He had a slow start, but once he picked it up in the second half, he and Isaac Anderson were just monsters for Team Gaither. But Traquan Thomas was the biggest star out of everybody. He was just his relentless motor, just his relentless pursuit to make a play. It was just something to behold, and something that NFL scouts talk about when you play at the lower divisions is that you have to be dominant in order to really make a name for yourself, especially when the NFL considers you to be playing against lesser talent. And that's exactly what Traquan Thomas was. So I would not be surprised if he got on a lot of teams' radar as a result of his performance. And I'm not sure if Alabama State is hosting a pro day, but there will be a lot of NFL presence, as well as UFL and CFL presence at his pro day to see what he does. And he may have just made himself some money with that performance. Other than him, the secondary as a whole was incredible. It was the secondary that got the pick. It was his teammate, Amon Scarborough, who picked off the pass that ended the game. The secondary was just great all around in that game. Robert McDaniel, who a lot of people were expecting to have a big game, he did not disappoint. Kendall Bowler did not disappoint. And as far as offensive talent, this was the best performance from the offense since the HBCU Legacy Bowl has been in existence. I mean, Jada Byers making so many good runs. Don't let that 40 time fool you. He is a guy that knows how to make the defense miss. He is strong. He has a quick burst, and he did exactly what he was supposed to do. I was hoping he would have a little bit more big runs, but he did exactly what he needed to do to keep his name floating. Somebody who isn't being talked about that had a big game that I want to give some praise is Romello Williams. Romello Williams, the quarterback with Virginia State, he showed great poise in the pocket. He always knew when to take off running, when the pocket was collapsing on him. He made great throws. His decision making was very elite in that game. He is somebody that you should watch for that could potentially get picked up by the UFL or maybe even some indoor leagues. There's a lot of CIAA guys who make the transition to indoor leagues. Jerome Johnson, a former Bowie State quarterback, is currently playing in the indoor league and is really thriving in the indoor league. So I think that's a path that Romello Williams could potentially take and could potentially even get a training camp invite based off his performance. Draylon Ellis and Jalal Dean, had a great connection. They scored both of the touchdowns for Team Gaither. They just showed that they have great chemistry and why they won a share of the OVC title. So there was a lot of great talent on display this past Saturday. This was easily the most enjoyable game that we have seen from the HBCU Legacy Bowl. And if players continue to play like they have been, then the sky's the limit for what they could potentially achieve at the next level.
Yeah, Chris, anybody that you watched on Saturday kind of stood out to you during the game?
I didn't actually have a chance to watch Saturday. I was covering another event, but I trust Jared Hoffman's eye more than anybody else's that's doing this thing right now. So if he, I was really hoping that Elijah Williams would, make a name for himself. But Traquan Thomas, I got a chance to cover Alabama State a couple of times for us this year, and he stood out in every game that I saw. So I'm not surprised. And I think the comp for Traquan, and yes, I'm always going to bring something back to Delaware State, is that Rodney Gunter. You guys may not remember his name, but he had one of those great off seasons that ended up getting him drafted in the middle rounds by the Arizona Cardinals. And he had a nice little 5-6 year career with the Cardinals on their defensive line. So hopefully Traquan has been able to play himself into conversations like Rodney Gunter did all those years ago. And, like I said, Elijah Williams is somebody that I feel like NFL teams, you got to have a dude with his talent, his motor, his physicality, because in the trenches, you can't be down there, dilly-dallying. You've got to be aggressive. You've got to push guys around. You've got to use your size. You've got to use your quickness. And for a defensive tackle to lead a program in sacks, which is usually like a linebacker or edge rusher's statistic, that should tell you a lot about Elijah Williams. So I really hope that NFL scouts don't miss the boat on him because, he went to Morgan State. Well, Willie Lanier, one of the greatest linebackers of his day, went to Morgan State. And that's whose record that Elijah Williams broke. So what more do you need to say?
And I think the thing that really helps Elijah Williams is that he can play in so many different areas of the field. He can go to the edge. He can go to the interior. If you line him up at linebacker, I'm pretty sure he could do that too. But he lined up in different areas of the field, and he made an impact on every single area. The same thing as Traquan Thomas. I want to give praise to Joaquin Davis because although he didn't have the receiving game he may have wanted to, he played on special teams and did whatever he needed to do. He fielded punts like it was normal for him to do. So I know for a fact he played himself into an NFL training camp invite, and he will be on an NFL team either at maybe if not the 53-man, he will be on somebody's practice squad for what he showed in that game playing on special teams. But I think that's really what helps a lot of these guys is that they want to do whatever it takes. They're willing to play multiple roles in the NFL. What really helps you when you don't have as much on tape as the guys in the Power Fours is versatility, being able to play multiple positions. Jada Byers returning punts and returning kick returns. Well, he does punts more, but being able to be impactful in multiple positions. You look at Brandon Codrington, who plays for the Buffalo Bills. He is a return specialist who also play corner. You know what I mean? That's why he's on an NFL roster. So that's what I really appreciated about the guys from this year's class. And in past class, they've done it as well. But this year, they have really taken onus on, I need to be impactful in multiple areas of the field in order to get the attention of the NFL rather than what my primary position is. And that's going to help a lot of guys in the long run.
Yeah, it's interesting y'all mentioned both Elijah Williams, Charles Davis, who is an NFL Network analyst and broadcaster. He does NFL games for CBS. He mentioned Elijah Williams as one of the 7 players who stood out to him during the Legacy Bowl over the weekend. He says, even though some scouts may knock him for his size at defensive tackle, his presence and his motor could possibly, get him either a camp invite or drafted. And I think, Jared, to your point, you mentioned how these guys will be able to do whatever they can to make the league. I mean, Elijah Williams, we've seen his talent, his versatility. I don't think a lot of teams will pass that up just because he may be a little bit undersized. If we play another position on the defensive line or something like that, he could be a real asset for a team. Also mentioned by Charles Davis with Jeremiah Pruitt, the tight end for Florida A&M. Stood out to him. Jackson State running back Irv Mulligan. We spoke at length about him last week, being someone who caught the eye of scouts during the pro day portion of the NFL, the HBCU Combine. His teammate Robert McDaniel. Something interesting Davis said in this report. He mentioned that his name was mentioned by coaches and scouts all week long. So he's definitely a guy who's definitely NFL radars and could position himself to be drafted. So that's why this event exists. That's why this game exists, to get guys who normally have opportunities to be seen at this extent outside of maybe the NFL Combine, which a lot of these guys rarely ever get invited to. So it's important for these guys to get stuff like this on tape and also to be seen by these scouts. So Ken Rashad, your guy, Miles Crawley, he was another person who kind of stood out to scouts. I don't know if you were able to see the game or not, but like, how do you feel about his prospects, going to the next level?
I really don't know how I feel about it. I guess if there's any good thing to come out of this is that at least he's being given the chance to show what he can do. I did see the highlight. I didn't see the game. I didn't see, anything that led up to the actual event, but I did see that highlight of him. I don't know if you guys saw where he threw that pass, which, it's just one element of what the scouts actually saw during the course of the time that or during the week. But like I said, man, given what the options are at this point, and given, unfortunately, how his year went in his final year at Grambling, at the very least, he's given an opportunity to see to show what he can do, and that that's about the best that he can hope for at this point. It could very well result in maybe making a practice squad if he's not drafted. Could very well result in being an undrafted free agent for a team. You just never know, and so that's why. This event, Senior Bowl, and all of the other postseason, all-star games for college athletes as it relates to football are so beneficial, because there's always, I don't think there's ever been a time where there hasn't been at least one or two, maybe even 3 or 4 players who have kind of been like diamonds in the rough to just show what they can do. And before you know it, they end up becoming box office at the NFL level. So, you never know.
Yeah, I think I'm sorry, I know we got to move on, but the market for quarterbacks is really tight, especially when you got a class this year that includes Shedeur Sanders, that includes Cam Ward. A lot of guys are looking for their next franchise star. And I don't deny that Miles Crawley could potentially be that for a UFL team, but at the NFL level, it's really difficult, and he's going to have to really shine if he were to get a training camp invite in order to be that next guy. And he did make a great play to Deshaun Mitchell from Savannah State. This showed great poise, saw the pocket collapsing on him, escaped out to the left and connected with him downfield. So it was an excellent play, but you got to get more on tape. And depending on how he performs in his pro day, again, I'm not sure if Grambling is hosting a pro day, but if he were to do a pro day, which I'm pretty sure he would if the option was given to him, he would have to really show that he could sling the ball down the field. He would have to show that he could do it with his feet. He's going to have to show that he can be calm under pressure and that he can manage a huddle. Because that's a lot what the NFL is managing the huddle and getting the play call in and having everybody in the right spots to be able to get the play off. So, yeah, he along with Draylon Ellis and Romello Williams had very good games. And Daniel Richardson, I keep forgetting Daniel Richardson, who was the offensive MVP, was incredible as well. But at the NFL level, it's hard for quarterbacks, especially when you come from a non-Power 5 school.
Yeah, like some of the measurables are gonna hurt some of these guys. Like Richardson, for example, he was listed at 5'9". Unless you have like elite arm talent and elite athletic ability, you won't be an NFL quarterback.
Jada Byers
Kyler
is
Murray is
5'7".
to the rule.
Jada Byers is 5'7". So there's a lot of that's what hurts a lot of our guys. A lot of our guys are undersized. But look at Joaquin Davis, somebody who has a 4.40 and a 40-inch vertical. That's going to help him a lot. You look at Kobe Durant, I believe he had a 36 inches vertical. So that helps him a lot. It's those measurable. You have to measure off the charts for them to even think about looking at you a certain way. Like Elijah Williams, even though he's undersized, what he put on tape is going to help him out a lot. You know, when they don't have the tape on you, they have to look at the measurables. And if the measurables don't add up, they'll look at you based on what you have on tape. But if you don't have it on tape and you don't have the measurables, and when I say have it on tape, it's based on what their criteria is. We look at it with our untrained eyes and we look at it a certain way. But these scouts have seen so much over the years. They've seen guys that look great in college but didn't turn out to have it at the NFL level. So it's hard because you don't know. You just don't know. And you're competing with players all over the country. So yeah, but a lot of these guys, I really feel like they help their chances on Saturday and throughout the week.
And that's for sure. Yeah, so moving on, this week is the CIAA tournament is going to be for the 5th year in Baltimore. Big fun in Baltimore this year. It's also going to be a special one because the league is going to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the women's tournament. They all week going to roll out some special presentations for that. And we'll be excited to see all that. But the brackets were released over the weekend as well for that tournament. On the men's side and the women's side, the number one seeds are both the same. The opening round starts tomorrow and it ends March 1st with the championship game. The championship game is going to actually be on ESPN Plus, I believe, this year. So it's going to get like national attention. Jared Hoffman, who's going to be in Baltimore covering the tournament for us throughout the week. What are your thoughts on who you think could run the table here? I know like every unpredictable. We had upsets last year. We thought like the number one team was going to advance to the championship game. It didn't happen. But who do you think on the men's side has the best chance to win it all?
Well, obviously Fayetteville State is coming in as the division champions for both the men's and women's side. The women ended the year on a 6-game win streak. They have an impressive resume. Their only losses in the CIAA combined for 8 points. So they just know how to get it done, and they're in a bracket that their side is very favorable to them. They will face the winner of Bluefield State and Johnson C. Smith in the opening round, and then they'll move on to potentially face either Virginia Union or the winner between, I'm forgetting who's on that other side of the bracket, but their side, the women's side, is very favorable to them. So, but I do think that Virginia Union could potentially give them problems. The top 3 in the CIAA North is going to be very tough to get by. So I'm sure that there's going to be a team or two that could potentially knock them off. But my favorite would be Fayetteville State on the women's side. Now on the men's side, it's very competitive, and I don't think that there is one particular team that has an advantage over anybody. Like there's multiple teams that could potentially get it done this time around. Lincoln really came on hot toward the end of the season, but it was Virginia State, I believe, that took the number 1 seed in the North. So yeah, it's anybody's game when it comes to the men's side. If I had to pick a team, my heart wants me to go with Bowie, but and they have a tendency to play up to their competition. So we'll see how that handles out for them. But if I were to pick a favorite, I'd probably say Fayetteville State. They're coming with a chip on their shoulder. Last year, they lost the heartbreaker to Lincoln. So they're looking to get them some get back. And I think that this year could potentially be the year they get it done.
Chris, who you got coming out on the men's side? Or there's going to be a Cinderella again like it was last year?
I'll be honest with you. I really want to know what Fayetteville State gained from playing that debacle the other night. When they put up 135 on, what was it, Carolina Christian or somebody?
Yeah.
Well, at least we know it wasn't. Y'all know who I'm about to say. the Washington Generals of black college sports. It wasn't Virginia University of Lynchburg, but yeah, you get 135 points, but did you tire yourself out in the process? Yes, they have a bye. It's very important that you go into the tournament on a hot note, but don't be surprised if Claflin gets them again, because remember, Claflin beat them in overtime earlier this week in a very competitive ball game. So it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I still think Lincoln has champion's advantage. Yes, that Winston-Salem State game is going to be a tough one. That Claflin game is going to be a tough one. Either Bowie State or Virginia State will give them a challenge, but I still think Lincoln makes it all the way to the championship game. And if Fayetteville State just can, weather the storm. I mean, I don't know much about Virginia Union or Shaw, but I think they should be able to win that game. And then the Bluefield State, I'm gonna go with Johnson C. Smith in that one. Johnson C. Smith versus Bluefield State, and then I'll pick Bluefield State to win that one, and then Fayetteville State wins, and then we got Fayetteville and Lincoln in the men's final. And all right, as much as I want to pick Lincoln because Julius Hodge has done a really good job in his first year, undoing the mess that Lincoln created for themselves and firing the coach that took them to their first ever Division II appearance, I'm gonna go ahead and stick with the regular season winner. I'm gonna pick Fayetteville State on the men's side to win it, and Fayetteville State on the women's side. I don't think anybody's gonna challenge them. I really don't. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick Fayetteville State on the women's side as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to agree that with Kim Spears there, Bluefield State is very dangerous, especially with Jordan Hines being back. He entered the transfer portal after last season, but decided to stay with Bluefield State, and he has been on a tear. He's scoring big as usual, and if he's playing efficiently and to the best of his abilities, the sky's the limit for what Bluefield State could potentially do, even potentially appearing in the championship game. They're that good. So, definitely don't sleep on Bluefield State.
Yeah, so you guys calling it chalk for the women's side? Somebody's going to challenge Fayetteville State?
No, I think there's going to be multiple teams that could potentially challenge them. I think Virginia Union could potentially challenge them, Virginia State. Like I said, the top three in the CIAA North, Virginia State, Bowie State, Virginia Union, they can all potentially challenge Fayetteville State. They could give them a tough game, but I just feel like this is Fayetteville State's year to go back to back. But I would not be surprised if any of those top three in the CIAA North knock them off. They are that close with each other. But Fayetteville State, they beat Virginia State handily in the regular season. I can't remember if they played Virginia Union, what the score was, or Bowie State, but I do remember them handily beating Virginia State. So I know that they can beat those competitive teams. And also don't forget Livingstone. Livingstone is one of those teams that beat Fayetteville State during the regular season. So Livingstone can potentially be a team that could hand them a loss in this one. So there's a lot of teams that could potentially challenge Fayetteville State. I'm just going with who I know is Morgan Graham is. If you don't know who Morgan Graham is, watch her during the CIAA tournament. She is a defensive rebounding machine, and she will be the key for Fayetteville State to potentially go back to back.
Livingstone has a young lady that I covered in high school on their squad, so that's who I'm going to be rooting for, but I'm probably going to stick with Fayetteville State winning the whole thing. But go Livingstone Bears and go Josiah Crawford of Caravel Academy, Bear, Delaware. Just want to put that out there.
Got to be a Delaware town there somewhere, right?
Always.
Like I don't. These tournaments are always unpredictable. Like you could say, well, the number one seeds for a reason, but I got a sneaky feeling like neither one's gonna make it through. It's gonna be a Bluefield State. It's gonna be somebody else who's gonna surprise some people and make a run in the tournament like they have us every single year. So I don't know. It could be. It definitely could be something of, okay, we didn't see this coming, but like, do you really think it was going to be really chalk going all the way through? No, I don't think so. So I'm picking the field in this one over the favorites.
Hey, that's not a bad decision whatsoever. I'm just excited for a great tournament. That's all I care about.
And our guy Jared Hoffman is going to be on the scene, so be sure to follow us on HBCU Sports for all of his coverage. And we'll probably have him on, during the Will you join us during the round table?
Sure. I'll see what I can do.
Fair enough.
Have
So
a laugh report. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
We did it for a celebration bowl. Why not do it for this?
Sure. I'll probably have to go to the go in the back in the media room, but because I'm pretty sure the band's gonna be right at where right on the side of my ears. So I'm gonna have to go to the back, but I definitely try to be here for you guys.
Cool. All right. Moving on now, we're going to talk the business of college sports, and that means ticket prices. And last night, Delaware State released their season ticket package, and Deshaun Jackson, who's their new head coach, as we all know, he was out on social media hyping it all up, saying, "People, get your tickets. It's going to be a fun and exciting season, one like you've never seen before in your entire life. And this is how much you got to pay for it when it all comes to dust." So for 2025 football season for Delaware State, box seats at their stadium, the upper level will be $1,800. The mid-level will be $1,600. The upper level will be $1,000. And the Hornets season ticket package will be around $200. Now, Chris Stevens, our Delaware State reporter and alum, he knows much more about this than any of us do. So are these reasonable prices to see a football team that won only 2 games in the last 2 years, or is this right around where it should be?
Wow, that's a way to put it.
I'm just saying, man.
Well, if you want to look at it this way, it is about 25 or about 15% less than what you would have seen to watch a Lee Hall Delaware State football team. And please don't think that I'm taking shots at Coach Hall, because I'm not. But I'm just saying that if you're gonna go see Deshaun Jackson, because $200, 5 home games, you divide that by 5, that's 40 games a season. That's $40 a game. Not really bad. Not really bad. I mean, will they win a lot at home? I don't know. Will they win a lot, period? I don't know. But what I do know is that this is a step in the right direction to get people. I mean, the interest is already there. And I think people are going to look at these prices and realize that it's okay not to have box seat money, because not everybody has box seat money. It's not something that you just randomly can say, all right, I'm going to plunk down $2,000 to go watch my favorite HBCU because there's nothing else to do on a Saturday. But if you're invested in the program's success, then that's exactly what you'll do. So this is for the big money folks. Make no mistake about it. The box seats are for the big money folks. The season ticket package is a little more manageable for alums, for local people in the state of Delaware. And it just makes more sense to offer these at a discount, because you need to sort of regain the trust of Delaware State University. And Kendrick's going to hit me with another undisclosed fine for this. Stakeholders. You got to get these folks interested in caring about Delaware State football again. And being able to, and one way you can get people to care is if you make stuff cheap. And this is cheap compared to last year. So the season ticket package last year was $350. The VIP box suites went from anywhere from $1,200 to 2 stacks. And the VIP cabana package, if you guys are not familiar, there's this cabana in the west end zone of the stadium that people, sit and vibe at. I mean, it's basically like, I guess you'd call it like the cookout tent inside the stadium. And yeah, it was $8,500 for the whole year. So, it's cheaper this year. I mean, they didn't disclose the cabana package. They're probably still working on that or whatever. But to be able to get cheaper tickets to see whatever Deshaun Jackson is going to put on the field, I feel like it's a win for Delaware State. Now, will this translate to better attendance? I don't know, because DSU has been terrible in attendance with the MEAC probably each of the last 10 years. Like, our attendance has just not been very good, regardless of who's been the head coach. Hopefully this changes with Deshaun, but there's been upgrades, Kim. We have new turf. We got new LED scoreboards. There is a field house that is under construction for the football team. So there's stuff coming, and they're still trying to figure out what they're going to do with the North Grandstand. At this point, I would prefer they just tear the whole thing down and build something on top of it. But it feels like they're going to try to build around Alumni Stadium the way Hampton was able to, sort of redo Armstrong Stadium as they went in the early to late 2000s. And Armstrong Stadium is a wonderful place to watch a football game. So I feel like Delaware State can do what Alumni Stadium, what Hampton did with Armstrong Stadium, and that would be a good place to start. But yes, overall, ticket prices, no, it ain't cheap, but it ain't as expensive as it was last year. And I think there's going to be a much better team on the field in 2025 than the one that took the field in 2024.
So Cameron Scott is a man who goes to Grambling State football games and pays sometimes money to go into those games. Are those reasonable prices to you?
What do you mean sometimes? What do you mean sometimes?
I mean, don't you go as media sometimes?
No, believe it or not. I mean, I can get media access, but believe it or not, I am a season ticket holder. And
how much Grambling tickets cost?
Well, okay. I can tell you what they cost. Well, let me just say this. That's about what I think on a season ticket package. Now, granted, that's about right. That's not far for the season tickets. Now, I don't have access to the box and to the Tiger Club and all that other stuff. I'm not that privileged. I'm not that fortunate. Shout out to Kim Spears, by the way. Kim Spears is a Grambling. We went to school together. Actually took classes together. But anyway, thanks for watching, brother. This is on par. There's nothing outrageous with the pricing as far as I'm concerned. And we had a conversation prior to going live in which Chris said these prices are actually cheaper than last year. I'm like, wow. So it's important that we talk about that, because I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw it, I was like, wow. Because the first thing that came to mind is this is exactly what they got to do, because whatever it is that they're paying Coach Jackson, they got to justify that contract. But for Chris to say that this is less than what they paid before, I'm like, okay. And then on top of that, here's the other benefit. And I say this respectfully, Chris.
I know.
We never talked about Delaware State football this much at any given time.
Ever.
So that in and itself is a plus. We're talking about Delaware State season tickets. That is a plus.
In February.
In February, yeah. So, I mean, hey, that's a plus. So, look, man, good luck to him. Good luck to him. If it's cheaper, one can only think that it'll, hopefully it'll show an actual increase. Maybe the strategic thing was, or is, okay, they were higher last year, didn't have any success in the wins column, and I don't know what the attendance numbers were, what the purchase numbers were, but maybe the thought process is, okay, we've got some synergy right now, we've got a name, we've got a coach that's well known, and let's reduce the ticket prices to encourage or to boost sales, and maybe we can surpass the numbers that we did from the previous year. So if that's the strategy behind it, it's good. When was Alumni Stadium built, Chris?
1957.
Okay, so I see. So you say that, and there's a part of me that could kind of appreciate why they wouldn't necessarily tear the structure down, as opposed to maybe just building up around it, as a lot of these older stadiums have. But just look. We've never talked about Delaware State football this much in the offseason.
And here's the thing. I made this point when we were doing shows during the football season. The Delaware State women's volleyball team, and granted, they won the MEAC tournament. I mean, that's very important. And there were more people in attendance for the MEAC volleyball championship game in Memorial Hall than the last football game at Alumni Stadium this season. And North Carolina Central was there. I mean, this was Trey Oliver and all of his blustery glory, trying to get a playoff spot, and nobody bothered to come to that game. More people went to the volleyball championship game than the football regular season finale. That's a problem. So you've got to get more people in the stand. You got to get more butts in the seats, to quote Tony Schiavone, and now you've got to give them a product worth keeping those butts in the seats. And that's going to be where Deshaun Jackson's challenge really lies. If he can get this team somehow we talked ad nauseum about what our expectation for Delaware State is. I say 5-7. Everybody else says 3-9, but somewhere in between there, you cannot have another 1-win season. That's the bottom line. Mm-hmm. You cannot go 1-11 again. I get, and for Deshaun Jackson, it's going to be, the first year, but he's got to have some market improvement. I don't care if you beat, Bowie State. I don't care if you beat the dog tar out of Southern Connecticut State. I don't care if you sneak past Sacred Heart once again. I don't care if you somehow fall into a 4-leaf clover and beat a MEAC team this year. You've got to win more than one football game. It's got to be 3 minimum. Anything else above 3 is going to be well, if you really want to know Magic City and Dover, EA, I can hit you one offline, but that's another story for another day. Overall, you just have to put something better on the field than what has been on the field the last 2 years. I think Deshaun Jackson can do that. What that looks like, we'll have to wait until August 28th to find out.
Yeah, Jared Hoffman, you think because Deshaun Jackson is the prohibitive golden goose for Delaware State, they should have raised prices considering all the interest and attention they're going to get this season?
I'm not sure because I'm not out. I think that's more of a question for Chris because I'm not sure how if it was Bowie State
and he was a coach there, like you think they should have just, hey man, we got this golden goose here, let's raise the prices and make as much money as we can off of them.
But if you don't think that the Delaware State community is really going to support, then why raise the prices if they're not going to go at the price at the way that the prices are now? So I don't think that that's a smart business model. Like we've sucked for the past however long. Sorry, Chris. And we got this golden goose coming, but we don't know how he's going to perform. Let's raise the prices just because of his name. I think Norfolk State can do that because Michael Vick is from the state of Virginia and he's the prodigal son. So they have leeway to be able to do that because his name sells in that state. I'm not sure what connection Deshaun Jackson has to Delaware State, if he even has. I don't even know if he's been to Delaware before he got hired by Delaware State. So I don't know what the sell is other than Deshaun Jackson was in the NFL. Look at this touchdown he scored against the Giants to win on a punt return that he muffed. So I don't know what the sell would be other than his name. So, and not to disrespect him, he's a great all-time punt returner or return specialist in general. But as far as his name being able to sell tickets to where you can raise the prices, I'm not sure you can do that now. If he was coaching a marquee team like a Jackson State, like a Grambling State, or even like a Howard, maybe, but I don't know if that would have been smart for him to do. I think they played it smart. I think that it's better for them to wait for the results on the field, and even the results on the field may not even matter because I don't know if the fans will show up even then. But all we can do is wait and see how he does as a coach, and we'll see how the fan turnout changes as the season goes.
I have to believe that for the time that Deshaun Jackson played for the Eagles, I have to believe that he had at least been to Delaware a couple of times.
I don't know.
I'm just saying. I'm sure he's had to have heard of Delaware State at some point. So I don't think he was just completely oblivious to it. But I'm just saying.
It depends. The Eagles are really active in this area. They do camps and charity work all the time. So I'm sure Deshaun has been here before he's been in Delaware, I'm sure. Dover, now Dover specifically.
Right.
I have no idea. I couldn't tell you. But, he's here now. And the important thing is, as I've noted before, he wants to be here. So the fact that he's going to give this his all and that he's actually hired coaches for the most part with experience. Clinton Portis is the only head scratcher, but everything else is like, these are veteran coaches who have coached at a collegiate level before and have been successful high school coaches. Because Travis Clark was the head coach at LB Poly. He just followed Deshaun to Dover. He's going to be his associate head coach. But everybody else on that staff, except for Clinton Portis, has some modicum of college coaching experience. So the fact that he's put together a competent staff, that he's literally invested in the success of this football program and these young men, it's cause for optimism. Like I said, I joked about the Celebration Bowl in 2027, maybe not that fast, but I do think he can turn it around in a timely fashion.
Yeah, I still think Delaware State should milk people for money, man. You got, I'm serious. You got Deshaun Jackson as your coach for God knows how long he's going to be your coach. Like, he has his NFL pedigree, as we mentioned before. He's bringing in Clinton Portis as his running back coach and run game coordinator. So there's a name coming along with him too. I say just see how it goes, man. Because doing some we're talking like Colorado's season ticket prices and price for tickets in general tripled when they hired Deion Sanders, and they sucked way longer than Delaware State sucked at football before he got there.
But there's a big difference between those two programs. Huge difference between those two programs.
I understand that, but
and there's a huge difference between Deion Sanders and Deshaun Jackson too.
I understand it, but at the same time, like, okay, what was the incentive for like people in Colorado to want to buy those tickets and pay the price for those tickets?
Because they saw what Deion did at Jackson State. We don't know what Deshaun Jackson can potentially do.
That is true. Right. Yeah, he doesn't have the same pedigree. You're right. Okay, y'all killed my argument. Thanks a lot, Chris Stevens.
we just try to keep each other honest around here. That's all we do.
So look,
there might be another fine coming for you, buddy. Don't worry about it.
We are on the business of athletics, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Before we move on, we got to pivot real quick, okay? Because we have to address this.
Giving away more shirts again?
This is EA. Good afternoon, young man and Ken. How about them Rattler Ballers? Our super talented AD was able to extend our coach to a 2-year, $330,000 plus $50K incentive.
That's not your coach. Stop it. No.
at Team Tiffany. Now, EA know better than this. Our coach? Really?
Spell her name right. It's Tiffany.
See, exactly.
Respectful.
Uh-oh.
I saw that. I'm just saying, EA. What? Why? You was it really hard for your AD to get a contract extension? Was that really hard? You say that like that was something. Just I don't know if we're gonna be able to keep him. When the hard part was getting them there, the person who found them to come there. And how your board of directors almost effed it up for the school.
And has he signed it? Or was that just the offer?
I don't know. All I'm saying is that he's given his AD, the current AD, credit for this contract extension when there was nothing hard about that. I could only imagine what the initial offer could have been. I have to wonder now, what was the original verbal agreement? Because part of me thinks this could have been cheaper initially than what you're paying right now. I'm just saying. Anyway.
From what I remember from the reports, it was 3 years. It was a 3-year contract originally. I think it was $150,000. Basically what he's making now. But they only wanted to give him 1 year because he wasn't a name brand hire. And yet and still, he has them in the top half of the SWAC standing. So much for name brand, right?
Reiterate, he won a national championship at the CIAA level, and he led multiple teams to the NAIA tournament.
That part.
But this is a person that they said wasn't a big name. He wasn't a proven commodity that they wanted to put on a prove it deal. And now you got to come up off that Brinks truck to get him to stay. And like I said before, and I stand on this, if I was him, I would laugh in your face and take other offers. You kidding me?
You know what? He can still laugh in their face and take other offers.
As he should.
So
as he should.
Take that, EA.
I mean, let's be real about this. I mean, we love when we get feedback from everybody, but let's be real about this. Y'all didn't want that man at first.
Yeah, I didn't.
It's like the old Mike Jones song. Back then they didn't want me. Now
they all on me.
I said You know, it's like we saw this, and I mean, it's like what Cat Williams say, Negro. You know that I can see you. All y'all talking about, we love Patrick Curry II. Oh, he's the best coach we've had since we won the MEAC in 2007. Your board of trustees didn't want him. So now y'all gotta reverse course.
Yeah, board of trustees. I said board of directors, but yeah, board of trustees. Go ahead.
Same thing. They all bad. I mean, we board of trustees, board of directors. We seen what happened with the Texas Southern. I mean, you can't put your keep
owe them an apology.
No, we don't.
No, we don't. Stop, Kendrick. You know better than that.
Keep people who don't know a doggone thing about athletics away from athletics, and your college will prosper. That's what we have learned from this entire situation. Yeah, it's okay to be a fan, but if you don't know the inner workings of college athletics, you really shouldn't be deciding on who should be a coach and who should not be. And I mean, as much as FAMU folks don't want to hear this, and they're gonna roast us in the comments, that still is Tiffany Dawn Sykes' hire. Yeah, you can't change that. You can't retroactively go back and say, oh wow, our new AD hired her. No. This was someone that Tiffany Dawn Sykes found. And y'all didn't want her. So, you know, not they, one person on the board. FAMU is basically paying the same he was going to make, so no loss. Please stop saying that. FAMU folks had no problem with the coach. This is on OBG and her relationship. That's fine. I mean, that's cool, but at the same time, you still let one board member almost psych y'all out of the best coach y'all have had since y'all won the MEAC in 2007. So whoever that board of trustee member is, y'all need to take him into a room or something and just, have a come to Jesus. I'm not saying you got to put hands on him, but you got to have a come to Jesus with him at least.
I think EA knows better. I think EA was just trying to be messy.
Yeah, he just
basically. Yeah, he was just trying to poke it. EA, you got your wish. You got us talking about you again, but that's why I like you. At least you come around. So you all right with me. Yeah. Same for you, Stephen Campbell. You all right too. You see, setting the record straight. Both of y'all good with me though. Yeah. All right.
First,
hey, dinner's on y'all next time I come to Tallahassee. Okay.
What do you mean dinner's on y'all?
That's funny. But anyway,
you disparage your school and asking to pay for your food.
Exactly. That make no sense. But like, first of all, if y'all really wanted him, y'all would have fought harder for him. That it's as simple as that. Basically, what Chris said. If you wanted him, you would have fought hard enough for him. Like you don't take somebody who won a national championship at any level and say we're gonna put you on a 1-year deal. It don't make no sense. Nothing about that makes sense, especially when you have a basketball team that hasn't done anything in however long.
Since 2007.
Exactly.
Maybe that's why he was pulling a 1-year deal, because they figured, well, like we've had all the other coaches who sucked. Why should we give this guy grace, despite the fact he won at the NAIA level? I think it's the 1-year deal that's throwing everybody off. If it was 2 years, maybe we wouldn't feel this way, because like we know football coaches have gotten 2-year contracts, as Ken alluded to with the situation going on at Grambling. But yeah, so like maybe he should have got more than 1 year though. I think it's a 1-year deal that's kind of like throwing folks off with this. But like Patrick Curry has definitely outcoached his contract and deserves whatever raise he gets.
Yes. So he way overcoached his contract.
Yeah, way overcoached his contract. Yeah,
way overcoached it. And by the way, Chris brought up Mike Jones, so I have to say, who?
Mike Jones.
Yeah, but FAMU was doing right by him by giving him an extension. Like they see that he's winning now. They see the program going in the right direction. So
they have no choice.
Yeah, I guess no choice. Like it's the appropriate move to make.
Okay. All I'm gonna say is this: FAMU wasn't even on the docket, and you folks just come in here and just shout out to FAMU for just coming in here and just causing disruption.
Mm-hmm. We was almost done. We was almost finished.
We were talking about Delaware State. Now we got on FAMU.
Yeah, see, and now I'm mad because you took the spotlight off of my alma mater. Ain't that a blip?
It's like we howled FAMU at the moon and all of their people came in. It's like they felt a disturbance.
Felt the disturbance in the force.
What was that? Was that the final topic?
It was. It was.
Topic, yeah.
It was.
So we're gonna end this show on this note, because I got to get something. I want to say this is to the Southern folks who ain't watching, because this is kind of a stroke of genius, and I can't really be mad at this. So as you guys know, Grambling and Southern played this past Saturday at Grambling, and we played Southern. First, the women played, and the women lost. Grambling women. And I mean, they lost. I mean, it wasn't even close. And then the men played, and it was close. And Southern's men won. Again, it was a sweep. Do you know what them damn Jags had the audacity to do when the game was over? They popped blue and gold confetti in our own place, popping confetti. They popped confetti in our house. And you know what the sad part is? I can't even be mad at it. They popped confetti. So all I'm going to say is this. Because they are our ghetto cousins down south, that's probably the only school who could get away with that. But do know, what's the saying goes? What comes around goes around? Mm-hmm. Or what goes around comes around? Whatever it is, it's going to go around. Oh, Lord. It's going to happen in Baton Rouge. I'm telling you. And if you think y'all showed y'all ass in Grambling, you know we going to show our ass down in Southern. I just want y'all to know it's coming. It's coming. Exactly right, Kim Spears. Payback is, or you know what?
I don't think we could put up the other comment that Kim Spears said. But I got the reference. That's funny.
Yes.
So I'm just saying.
Yeah,
they popped some confetti, and that was creative. But
not Kim Rashad, you know you should be the last person on this show to complain about post-game celebrations when last football season your football team gave a Gatorade shower to your head football coach after they beat Delaware State. And if I'm not mistaken, Grambling went on a slide after that. And Delaware State stayed all the way to the top, and they won the SWAC,
Kendrick,
and the Celebration Bowl.
Kendrick.
First of all, you so messy for saying if I'm not mistaken. You know
Kendrick. What does Grambling having a post-game celebration for a game they won have to do with Southern popping confetti in our house after a sweep?
And I will admit, it wasn't. These how people celebrate, though. That's what I'm trying to say.
They were in our house.
It don't matter where they at. They won the game. They get to do that.
You know what? I'm not even about to have this argument with you.
They can stump on the G.
Kendrick, when did this game happen?
What game? The basketball game?
The game that you're referring to about the Gatorade.
It happened last football season.
Against who?
Jackson State.
Yo daddy.
Lord,
here we go.
Not all right. This again.
So, but you brought this up. Okay. So we are going to go ahead and we're going to end the show here. Chris, do that thing that you do.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for joining our
people's celebrations. That's
ladies and gentlemen
for you, Kim Rashad.
You don't celebrate on our home, Kendrick. That's the point.
The game, Kim Rashad. Nobody celebrates.
Look,
don't lose.
I give them credit. They beat the girls' ass. They beat our ass. They beat the men's ass. But then they come in, they popping blue and gold confetti in your rival's home. Do you know what? Auburn couldn't do that at Alabama. Ole Miss couldn't do that at Mississippi State. Texas couldn't do that at Texas A&M. But we let them old ghetto-fied people come in here and pop confetti, and I'm just saying. We're just saying, but next time we're gonna cut you. That's all. We civilized black folks. I'm just saying it was, it's I can't say it's beneath them. It's what they do. They're uncouth.
Stephen Campbell said it's Mardi Gras.
It is Mardi Gras season. Good point. Great point. Okay. Chris, do that thing that you do.
if I can get myself back together. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for joining us on this Monday afternoon. Be sure to follow us on all manners of social media. We are on X. No, we're on the Musty app. I refuse to call it X. We're on the Musty app. We're on Blue Sky. We're on Facebook, Threads, TikTok, Instagram. Just look for HBCU Sports. If you feel so inclined, become a member, subscribe to this channel, become a level 1 or level 2 member. You can get all the Black college information that is fit to print and broadcast, as we like to give you. And if you feel compelled to donate, you have 2 ways you can do so. Open the Zelle app, go to donate at hbcusports.com, drop a few coins there, or you can go directly to the website, hbcusports.com/donate, and drop a dime there. Also, we do have a newsletter, so you can just go to the website, fill out that newsletter, and if you're feeling lucky one of these days when we're broadcasting, Ken Rashad might copy you some free gear if you subscribe to the newsletter. So do all of that and keep this operation going. And once again, we thank y'all for checking us out. We greatly appreciate you.
Brother Ford, I got you. I hadn't forgotten about that. I got you. All right, we out.